So before I start this video, I want to give you a warning. Most people would not be able to try this method out because they are simply too afraid, right? Because this requires total surrender to God or universe or whatever you want to call that divine force, right? So before I start, I want you to know that by using this hack, this method, I attracted my specific person into my life 4 years ago. Like, even after 4 years, our love is stronger than ever. And now she's my fiancée. And I was able to attract that love by using this method, right? So, this method is powerful and it works, and I am the living proof of it, right? So, enjoy this video. So, now that it is out of the way, let's talk about my rapid manifestation hack. So, when it comes to manifestation, there's a spectrum, right? So, on one end of the spectrum, we have people who are unconscious of this knowledge, right? They are NPCs and they live in autopilot. They just take the script that were given to them by society, by their parents, by schools, and they just live it throughout their life. And on the middle of the spectrum, we have people who are conscious, right? And they are able to create the life they desire. On the other end of the spectrum, we have people who know the knowledge, who are aware of the knowledge, but still can't consciously create their future. So, the difference between people who are conscious of this knowledge and being able to create the life they desire, and the people who are aware of the knowledge but can't consciously create the future, these people lack the proper implement, implementation, or they overdo it, which simply means they have a problem with surrendering, right? So if you are someone who knows this knowledge and you do affirmations, you do visualizations, whatever technique you want to do, you do it, and you're aware of the law, you're aware of the knowledge that you can consciously create your future, but you're still not being able to do it because either you lack proper implementation or you overdo it, and that is because you have a problem with surrendering, right? So if you lack proper implementation, if you think you're going wrong somewhere, then check out the link in description, because without knowing you, I can't give you specific advice tailored to your own situation, right? So each person is different. These generic videos can only help to a certain extent. So talk to me, it is for free of course, so that I can tilt you in the right way and you can manifest your grandest desires and live the best life possible, right? So that is for lacking proper implementation, but for people who overdo it, right? So let me ask you a question. Whenever you think like reality is not changing or why am I not seeing results, what do you do? Do you tend to overdo it or forget about it? Whenever you do affirmations or whenever you do any technique so that you can live in a desired reality, what is the subconscious thought that you're having, right? Are you thinking, okay, I want to manifest, and because I want to manifest, I will do this particular technique, and by doing this technique, I will get my desires manifested into physical reality? Do you think like that, right? So let me expand on this because this is where most people go wrong. So whenever you think reality is not changing, first this line of thinking in itself indicates that you lack fulfillment, right? So in order to understand the magnitude of this problem, first you need to understand what manifestation is. Manifestation is not you trying to control external reality. Manifestation is not you trying to materialize your desires into physical reality. Manifestation Manifestation is nothing but internal fulfillment of your desires, making you act from having rather than wanting, and allowing the universe, allowing God to reorganize the world according to yourself. Right? I will repeat it again. Manifestation is internal fulfillment of your desires, making you act from having rather than wanting, and allowing the universe to reorganize the world according to your own self. Right? So if your self lacks fulfillment, then of course your desires will not get manifested into physical reality. You will still have the same result, right? Because once you are fulfilled within, once you have fulfilled your desires within, you will not ask the question, my reality is not changing. Why is my reality is not changing? You will not think like this. You will not ask it to yourself, like, why am I doing, like, I'm doing everything right? Why am I not seeing reality change? You will not ask that question if you are fulfilled within. Manifestation is all about internal fulfillment. It is not about an external pursuit, right? Everything that has to do with manifestation comes from within, right? Manifestation is all about internal change. I want you to, like, I want to hammer it down your head, right? If you still think, if you still operate from wantingness, if you still operate from a position of desperateness, and you think that my reality is not changing, it is because you have not changed yourself. It is because you have not fulfilled your desires within, right? So what do people do when their reality is not changing? They don't realize that they have not fulfilled that desire within. Because if they did so, then they would not ask, or they would not tell to others or to themselves that my reality is not changing. So when people's reality are not changing, what they tend to do is they overdo. They start to think, I need to do more affirmations, I need to do more visualizations, or they bring doubt to the technique that they're already doing. They might think, okay, I can try a different affirmation, or I can try a different imaginative scene, or I need to change my technique, right? So all of these self-doubt, all of these questions that arises within yourself comes from the fact that you lack fulfillment, right? So when you overdo the technique, and if you keep saying that my reality is not changing, you also create excess potential. So when you fulfill your desires within, right, you collapse the energetic gap between you and your desires, and because there is no gap between you and your desires, it gets manifested into physical reality. But the more you do affirmations, the more you do visualizations, the more you think that I need to do this particular technique in order to manifest my desires, you create an energetic gap between you and your desires. And that gap is what blocking you from getting your desire in the first place. Because whenever you attribute more importance to your desires, you create excess potential. Excess potential is nothing but excess importance. The more important your desire is, the more longer it will take for you to manifest that particular desire, right? Because you only give importance to that one particular desire because you don't have it. If you already have it, you will not feel important, you just feel grateful for it, right? Gratefulness and deeming something as important are two different things, right? So the more importance you give to a particular desire, the more energetic gap you have between you and your desire. So the more sooner you collapse the importance between you and your desire, the more faster it will manifest into your physical reality, right? So you overdo it, so you create excess potential, you create excess importance. So now that you understand where you go wrong when it comes to manifestation, now we can talk about my rapid manifestation hack that you can do to fasten the process, right? So stick till the end of this video because there are many nuances to this, right? Like, I can just give you the hack, I can move on, and this video will be just 5 minutes long. But I don't want to do that because, like, if the video is 5 minutes long, like, I can just chill, like, it is less work for me. But I need to give you the nuances to this practice so that you can do it in the right way. Like I said, most people can't manifest the desires because either they lack proper implementation, or they lack, or they give too much importance to their desires because they lack fulfillment, right? So So the next thing you need to understand is manifestation can just be you making a decision and bringing fulfillment and living your life, right? Manifestation can just be you making a decision and bringing fulfillment and living your life. What does it mean? So everything, every single possibility that can exist already exists in the quantum field, or we can call it the alternative space, infinite intelligence, God, the fourth dimensional plane. Like, there are many names to it, right? The one thing you need to understand is all creation is already finished, all possibilities already exist. So you're never creating anything out of, like, you never do any new creations, like you never create anything. All you do is whenever you think of something, whenever you think of a desire, it already exists in the mental plane, it already exists in the quantum field. So all you do is just decide that you can have it. That's all it is, right? It is like you going to a restaurant and you looking at the menu to see what you want, and you just calling up the waiter and you order it and you just wait for it to occur, right? The moment you order a dish at a restaurant, you know you have it. Just because the food hasn't arrived yet, that doesn't mean that you haven't ordered it. Let's take another example. Let's say you order something from Amazon. The moment you pay for that particular object or that particular item from Amazon, you know you have it. Just because it hasn't arrived yet, that doesn't mean you don't own it, you don't have it, right? The same analogy can operate in metaphysics, in manifestation, right? So manifestation can just be you making a decision because creation is already finished and bringing fulfillment and living your life. So now that you understand this, let's talk about my rapid manifestation hack. So the first step is know what you want. You need to precisely know what you want, because if you don't know what you actually exactly want, how can you manifest? Like I said, you manifesting a desire is like you ordering something from Amazon, right? Every single desire has unique product code in the alternative space in the quantum field, right? And I'm not saying you can't manifest with general desires like I want more money, I want more love, I want more respect. Like, you can still manifest it, you can still bring in circumstances, right? But the more specific you are, the more easier it is for the universe to give you what you want, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't manifest with general desires or general beliefs, but specificity is what I recommend to my clients and to my audience as well, right? So first, know what you want in crystal clear clarity, right? And next, decide to have it. This can be like you deciding to raise your hand. It can be as simple as that, right? Now that you know that all creation is finished, now that you know every single desire, every single possibility already exists in the alternative space, you can just decide to have it, right? And once you've decided to have it, the third step is create an imaginative scene or imaginal act, which implies that you already have your desire, right? So you create an imaginal act which implies that you already have your desire. Because now that you have decided to have it, you still lack the fulfillment of the desire, right? So whenever you go into your imagination, I want you to think that that imaginal act is real and it is happening right now. Because whenever you go into imagination, you're not creating anything, and it is not just imagination, it is not just fantasy. You are literally illuminating a part of the alternative space, a part of the quantum field. It is actually happening, right? The cause of this physical plane is the mental plane. So the more images that you hold in your mind, that images will get reflected into physical reality. So don't just think that imagination is just fantasy, imagination is just delusion. No, it is actually happening in the quantum field. If you have the belief that it is just imagination, it's just fantasy, and you just do it for the sake of manifestation, then of course it's not going to work, right? So whenever you go into imaginal act, I want you to set the intention that it is already happening. And whenever you are in imagination, think of it like you are living it. You are actually living it, right? It is real, right? So create an imaginal act and it is real, which implies that you already have your desire. So this can be you generating a scene, like for example, you might have your friends, you might have a wife or a husband, like whoever you are, you may have your parents, like I don't care. Just imagine someone that you love and them loving you, seeing your success and reacting to it. This can be this can be them coming and hugging you, this can be them shaking your hand, this can be them congratulating you, saying good words, right? This can be anything, but I want you to use all five senses if possible, right? I know it's hard, but try it, right? Use your senses, right? And make it as vivid and as detailed as possible, because we want to invoke the fulfillment within. Fulfillment comes from emotion, fulfillment comes from feeling. So to invoke fulfillment, you need to imagine that particular desired reality as vividly and as detailed as possible. If it's too vague, then fulfillment, evoking the fulfillment can become hard, right? And once you do this and once you feel fulfilled, the next step is to do nothing. No techniques, no affirmations, nothing except whenever you think of your desire, you say thank you. Thank you, God, thank you, universe, or you can just say thank you. This can be one simple short phrase. For example, it can be thank you, it can be it is already done. Whatever statement implies that you already have your desire, you just take that one sentence, and whenever you think of your desire, you just repeat it in your mind. You mentally declare that it is done and you are feeling grateful for. For myself, I just say thank you, universe, thank you, God, for giving me what I want, right? And I want you to do nothing for the next 30 days, right? And by doing nothing, by you losing control, you gain full control, right? Because every time you think of your desire, you're just saying it is done. Like think of every single thing you already own. Are you using visualizations? Are you using affirmations for the things you already own in physical reality? No, because you know it's done. You know you already have it. So now that you have brought fulfillment within and you know that feeling, you should do nothing because you already have it. You already have it vibrationally. So to indicate that, you are going to do nothing but just feel grateful. Whenever you think of a desire, you just say thank you, or you say it is already done, and you move on with your life. You live your life. You do what you're already doing. This is you literally surrendering to God or universe or the divine force. Right? Now there's a nuance to this, right? Now comes the most important part of this video, because if you thought this was the important part of this video, then you are plain wrong. And for the people who already skipped this video, they will fail because they don't know this one crucial aspect of this method. So this hack or this method, for the most of you watching, this won't work for the big desires you have, right? Because one of the most important component of manifestation is conviction, right? Now we manifestors, we like control because the art of manifestation lets us know that we can consciously control our future, right? So we like control. We are basically control freaks, right? So when it comes to a method where it requires for you to do nothing, right? Literally nothing. What that means is sometimes you may be fearful, sometimes you may be afraid, sometimes you even doubt yourself, because doing that particular technique, it can be affirmations or visualizations or whatever technique you use, it gives us a sense of control of our life, right? Even though it's not working, we still do it just to just to pat ourselves on the back, to say to ourselves that We are doing something to consciously create our life. And when we don't do it, that lets us, that makes us think that we are not in control of our life. So that particular technique that you are doing becomes a prison. The one thing that you thought will break you out of the prison of mundane life becomes another prison that holds you within and keeps you limited, right? So when I say that you need to do nothing, it can trigger certain fears, it can trigger doubt, right? So one of the most important components of manifestation is conviction. So if you don't have the conviction that this method will work, it will not work, right? So my advice is, start with small desires. Desires of least or no importance, right? Of course, from the universe standpoint, from the universe perspective, there are no big desires or small desires, because universe is infinite, right? It doesn't know what is small or what is big. It is just the duality that we have created in our third dimensional plane, right? Like, you can't say something is small unless you compare it with something big, right? No object, no thing is inherently small or big. So it is in our mind when we think that some desires are small, some desires are big, right? But for the sake of this video, since you lack conviction, most probably you lack conviction, you can't apply this for big desires. For example, if you have been trying to have money all your life, if money is the most important desire that you have right now, then I would recommend to not do this for that one big desire, because you already have attributed so much importance to it. So it is not easy for you. I'm not saying everyone, right? But for some of you, it may not seem easy for you to simply drop everything and just trust the universe or God to simply give you what you want, right? So first, start with small desires. Manifest a cup of coffee by doing nothing. Manifest a piece of chocolate, or manifest that you want to meet someone and actually meeting that person, right? You can build that manifestation muscle. You can build that conviction that you have with this method. And all it takes is just like you manifesting two or three things, and that will give you the conviction that you need in order to manifest big desires, like having more money, having more love. Like, this is how I manifested my love 4 years ago, right? This is how I manifested my love, and even after 4 years later, my love is still strong as ever. So once you have the conviction, you can manifest your big desires, like attracting love, like me, or attracting money, attracting big changes into your life, right? So yeah, that's it from me. If you want to work with me personally, then check out the link in description. And until then, I will see you in the next video. Peace.